Well, turning now to Portland's homeless crisis and a side of street life that we don't often hear about: homeless women giving birth. Since February, Portland Fire and Rescue responded to 4 pregnancy calls. 2 happened in April, all on the streets of downtown Portland. Now, I caught up with a lieutenant who has responded to several of these calls, the latest in Old Town. He says in his 18 years as a Portland firefighter, he has never seen calls like this as frequently as they've been coming in lately. But before you hear from him, I just want to warn you that what you're about to hear are graphic descriptions of those scenes that may be disturbing for some of you. But we do feel it's important to understand what first responders are dealing with and what's really happening on the streets.
Yeah, for the one down on 3rd and Flanders, down in Old Town, we pulled up. There was tents, there was debris around, there's probably 5 or 6 homeless people around, and then we had our patient, and there she was on her hands and knees, and she was visibly pregnant, 7, 8, 9 months pregnant, and her water had broken, and she needed to go to the hospital. And then you kind of have this other scene around you with people that are very emotionally charged and fired up as well.
So in that case, an ambulance showed up and they were able to transport the baby to the hospital. But Hanley says that is not the case for all street births.
Once that, the mother did not give birth yet, we put her in the ambulance. Once, right when we arrived, the baby had been born, and it was a non-viable child. And then another time, a child was found outside of a tent, and it was not viable. When we arrived, it wasn't viable when the person found it, and it still had the umbilical cord attached, and so that was obviously a non-viable child.
Now, even though we don't often hear about this happening on the streets, it's nothing new. Last year, I met a woman who helped her 26-year-old friend give birth on a blue tarp.
All of a sudden, she's just like, "Becky, help me, please help me." And I'm like, "What, baby?" And she goes, "It hurts, it hurts." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's call 911.
Southwest First and Harvey Mills by an orange tent. Someone is starting to give birth.
We put her on this cart right here, and then rolled her down there. And so I just told her, I was like, "Just relax." She goes, "I'm scared." I said, "It's okay."
I'm not sure how imminent this was when it was tapped, but the baby's head and shoulders are out.
Okay, so shortly after that day last year, I found the mother. She was back on the streets, still struggling with her fentanyl addiction, and she was camping in the Goose Hollow neighborhood. She told me her family was caring for the newborn child. She didn't want to go on camera. But the fact that she was back on the streets within just a matter of days is something that Lieutenant Hanley says does not surprise him.
I think it's sad. I think it's hard. The mothers and patients that I've been on, they don't have any pre-pregnancy care. So they're not even going to the hospital to get routine checkups. So it doesn't surprise me that someone or a mother would have a child and then the next day they're out, or 2 days later they're back on the streets.
Now, there's no doubt these kinds of traumatic situations take a toll on the newborn babies and their homeless mothers, but also the first responders. So I asked Lieutenant Hanley how his team deals with the emotional impact.
Yeah, I think that we just we talk with each other. If people have a hard time with that, we have a great peer support group that we can talk with. We have a great peer support coordinator who can help us out. So there's resources for us personally that we can use. But we lean on each other, we talk to each other, and we support each other in the firehouse.